Omnisport Breakfast with MKT and Kevin McCollum on Omnisport Africa.
Kev, I'll be honest with you, I didn't put a tenner down this weekend.
Well, you saved yourself 10 rand. It wasn't another great. I'm 3 out of 5 again. I've got to break that curse, and that's going to be this weekend coming up. But that'll be Thursday's guessing game, I think.
So I was actually, after we finished the show on Friday, I went home while I was considering whether to put the bets down or not. And I started to look up what's the average winning, like for a good better, like a good professional punter. What's good average winnings? 44% it turned out. Well, this is what Google said. Yeah, Google says 44% of winnings is like top tier, like that. That was like what the top guys are doing. So, I mean, don't feel bad. You got a 60% winning rate here.
Yeah, but I'm still a loser.
Oh.
Well, this weekend it was definitely. I mean, I thought it would start off so well. Brighton, Southampton. I put money down on them. They were the first of my 5 bets. Both teams to score 1.66, and both teams did score. It was 1-1. Southampton, though, I thought were very unlucky. The VAR robbed them again.
I agree.
Perhaps Russell Martin has got something up his sleeve. Brighton had moved up to second in the league. But yeah, I thought that they played very well, and the VAR was just an absolute disgrace.
I agree with you. That was definitely a penner, and it was a shock as well.
Yeah, it was off. I mean, they said that the last goal was offside. There's not a chance it was offside.
No.
And then Russell Martin and Herzler got a bit squirrely at the end.
I saw it.
They were shouting at each other. It wasn't very pretty.
No, it was not. You remember when Tuchel and Antonio Conte did?
Yes, yeah. And I always wanted to know what language they were speaking. Because, I mean, were they swearing at each other in broken English? Were they, or did Conte go full Italian?
Yeah.
Did Tuchel go full German? I want to know that. I always love hearing managers, foreign managers, swear in English, and it just sounds different. It's a bit like whenever Jurgen Klopp used to say brain fog, and he said it in the word. They said fog in a way that he didn't understand, and he said this F-U-C-K one. He goes, oh, not brain. Okay, I got you now. It's like, oh.
That's great. Yeah. That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, the Brighton game, I thought Southampton do play sweet football. If they just had a half-decent striker, because I don't think Armstrong's good enough. So you won that, but both teams got a goal, and it was 1.66, right?
1.66. So we had a good start to the weekend. It was Friday night. And then, why do I bet on the PSL? Like Kaiser Chiefs to beat Royal AM. You're 2-0 up. They're playing the Teletubby chairman.
Yeah.
They take him off.
Yeah.
And they scored, Royal AM scored 2 goals. Their manager, so their owner has been sequestrated. She got raided by SARS. They've taken away her cars. Please take away her football team as well.
Yeah. Well, while we're at it, I mean, you would think with all of those factors at play, not even Kaiser Chiefs could choke this one. Absolutely not. So I watched the last 20. Like, I was fortunate enough. I don't know how I even knew the Kaiser Chiefs game was on. And that last 20 I caught. And that's when all the action, I was like, what is going on here? There's no way they're going to choke this. Now, Larry, who we've had on the show before, remember he said Chiefs are going to come top 3. Yeah. Who's a diehard Kaiser Chiefs fan. So I'm texting him at the same time. I'm going, Chief, what's going on here? This is a 2-1, by the way. And he's like, nah, relax, this and that. 2-2. I text him, doesn't reply at all. No, I'm getting no replies now from him. What a choke job. Coach Nabi must have been absolutely
apoplectic. He was not happy at all. He said he was just frustrated. He said, I don't know what happened. It was unprofessional. They lost total concentration. And they did. It almost became like a sort of a PSL brain fog. But the other way of saying it. But they just looked like they weren't interested. And Royal AM said, well, we might not get paid this week. So let's go and score a couple of goals anyway.
It is interesting that when every time, so I think I was reading a stat that I think it's the 3rd or the 4th time, I can't quite remember what it said, where they've taken the chairman off, Mr. Teletubby, as you've called him quite rightly.
Yeah.
As soon as he's come off, they've turned the result around again. And I don't want to just say this blindly, but watching what they were doing, it's like I couldn't believe they were losing. If you saw how Royal M played in that last 20 minutes, now I don't know if it's because the players are sort of fed up with him being in the mix and they just play better without him. I saw on social media, they said, Kaiser Chiefs are useless. They were basically playing against 10 men for from the start of the game, and all they could do was score 2 goals. But I do think it's Coach Nabi, and if you're a Kaizer Chiefs fan, if you're just joining us, we are reviewing Kev's 5 bets. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Coach Nabi, because I think Kaizer Chiefs need to stop this throwing coaches away. If you want to be a serious club, and you've said this many times before, is that you need to build off stability, kind of how Liverpool did. Because the one thing about Kaizer Chiefs, I think we all know, they're never going to be short of resources. They've got the fans, they've got the merchandise, they sell, they're top 2 biggest clubs in South Africa, top 5 biggest in Africa in terms of following. I mean, they haven't won a trophy in or a major trophy in 12 years now. But again, they're not going to be short of resources. Just get some stability, because that name will still attract the talent. Yeah. Can you create a stable environment? And the fans don't help, Kev. I don't know if you'd agree or not.
No,
Those cases.
No, they don't. Chucking things, booing people.
Yep.
And we've had issues with Chiefs fans this season. I mean, I think Chiefs have been banned, have been fined a few times for invasions. They are now 7th in the Betway PSL, and it's 10 points behind Sundowns.
10.
They have played 1 game less than Sundowns, so if they win that, they'll be 7 points behind. They're 10 points behind. Sundowns at the top. Pirates are tied with Sundowns at the top, and Stellenbosch, after their win against Pirates, are sitting pretty in 3rd, with Chipper United in 4th, and Royal AM are 10th in the league. That's not bad for a team with no money and no owner and no fancy cars.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me what you said just now. It's like, we say it in jest.
Yeah.
The Royal AM players do not know if they are getting paid at the end of this month.
That's absolutely true. I mean, when she came to the ground one day with cash and started splashing it around, which is the most ostentatious, and it's almost like a what's it called, new money sort of thing to do.
It is that nouveau riche.
Yeah.
It's gross. It's gross, certainly for this environment. And I feel for the Royal AM players, but I feel even more, because one thing that's hysterical is South African social media. I feel even more for the Kaizer Chiefs players, because social media was not holding back on them, especially after they drew 2-2 there. A draw for them means a loss for us, because Kev, you'd obviously that's not how you'd bet in that game.
No, I went to Chiefs. I thought they must be on the up there, looking good, looking okay, and it's Royal AM. I mean, I thought with all the action behind the scenes at Royal AM in La Lucia's posh suburbs, I just thought, here they go, they're going to get smashed, and they didn't. Chiefs took it too easy. It was actually so unprofessional, and the Chiefs players shouldn't have been paid for that game.
If you listen to Inside SA Soccer, Brad Jakes has said, in the past, although he's been somebody who's interviewed the kids at Kaizer Chiefs, the great Kaizer Motaung's children, is that he feels as though they have let that club slip. And, I don't know, Brad Jakes better than I do. You've worked together for beyond a decade with him, right? Yeah. Is that he's not the type of guy to make stuff up. I think Brad Jakes is a journalist and somebody who's hearing stuff, and obviously has been a part of the fabric of South African football for a long time. If he's saying that publicly, Brad Jakes has heard it somewhere, and I've heard him say it multiple times on Inside SA Soccer, that these kids are not as focused on the club as their father was, and that's why the club is where it is.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's almost a bit of a hobby for them. I had a friend who actually went out to Naturena to go meet Chiefs, and he said, "Oh, look, we managed to get an extra 15 minutes with the Queen herself. So instead of her just staying for 15, she stayed for half an hour. And apparently that's unheard of. She's got a very high opinion of herself, Miss Motaung.
Jessica, we once had to do a shoot with her. She took 4 hours to do makeup. She held up the shoot because her makeup took 4 hours. It's like, oh Jesus Christ, what are we doing? So I can kind of see what having that as your ownership. Hey, listen, if you're Kaizer Chiefs fan, maybe we're wrong. Let us know. Maybe we don't know what we're talking about. Maybe you think that these kids are going to take the club into the future. They've certainly had a decade to turn the ship, and they haven't yet. Royal AM, who don't know if they are getting paid or not, getting the draw there, a loss for us. All right, what's your next bet there, Kev?
So I went Wolves Bournemouth, and I went Wolves to win. They were 2.75 for the win. Bournemouth were 2.42, so they were the favourites. But then they got pumped 4-2. It's really funny. The coach of Wolves had actually thought about stopping Justin Kluivert from taking his history-making third penalty. I thought, is he allowed to do that? Can you take the third one? It became the first penalty hat trick in history. You know, Patrick Kluivert must be very, very happy. But it was a mad game. And this first 18 minutes, 4 goals,
Insane.
2-2, and then I think Wolves just ran out of gas.
Absolutely insane. Gary O'Neill, I think they'll keep him. Clever coach. Love him there. Liverpool, Man City. Man City, of course, losing 2-0 there. You've obviously won that bet. You backed Liverpool.
I did, yeah. It was, yeah. Well, no, I backed, sorry, that was Wolves. I backed Wolves for that one.
Oh, well, you backed Wolves. You backed Wolves in the other one.
Wolves happened. So then there are 2 more bets to go. So that one was a loss. That's the second loss. Then I backed Liverpool. Obviously, I backed Liverpool to win 2-0. You know, as I keep saying, the Manchester City machine just looks broken. Pep Guardiola afterwards was talking in riddles and he almost sounded fatigued and confused. And I've never seen him react like that to saying you're getting sacked in the morning. And they kept like going about, it's very rude of them.
Yeah.
They're fans.
Yeah.
It's their job. They've paid the money to be rude to you. So that's what they're going to do. So they're going to sing, you're going to be sacked in the morning. You're not going to be sacked in the morning. And they know the irony of that. And then whenever we did the thing, there was a fan that shouted, he's lost it, as they were singing it. And I think he has lost it a bit. I think he's lost that confidence. And he says he thinks that this is the moment that City start again. I'm not sure.
He's never ever had this situation before. Six without a loss. He's conceded 19 in the last 6. Pep's never had this. Never. Five on the bounce without a result. He's never had this in his career, quite literally, statistically. So he's in a place he's never been in, and I think the pressure gets to all of us. All right, your last bet, Kev.
So Dortmund, Bayern Munich. I went Bayern to win. They were by far favourites. Dortmund 4.6 to win. Bayern Munich 1.65. They'd won their last 5 matches. They scored an incredible 29 goals in 11 games and conceded just 7. Well, Dortmund had one loss, and they weren't great. So they're up and down. But then it was one of the better games. It was Jamel Musiala who scored for Bayern Munich, and who's the kid? There's an English kid who was Gittin, that's his name.
Yeah.
He is always at the Manchester City Academy.
Yeah.
And there's talk about him now being brought back into the England setup. So it's almost like he was replacing Harry Kane off injured.
Saw that hamstring.
So, but then he was seen walking okay after the game. But this kid, basically this Gittin kid, he is different class. So somebody in England is going to pick him up, I think.
Well, if you're English, you don't want the Jamal Musiala situation happening again, because if you remember, Musiala played in the junior ranks. So him, Sancho, they were all part of the same brigade. Then Musiala went back, obviously, to Bayern Munich, left the Man City Academy, or Chelsea Academy, excuse me, and went back to Germany very, very young. Germany said, oh, while you're here, you're kind of good. Let's snap you up. So with Gittins, they won't want that to happen again. All right. Listen, Kev, 3 out of 5?
3 out of 5, yeah. It was okay, but we'll get better.
No, short memory. You've got to have a short memory in this world. We'll put on a tenner next week, and on Thursday we'll be back. Kev's 5 bets, proudly brought to you by Betway. Back on Thursday with our look forward to next weekend. All right, on the other side, in 60 seconds, we'll keep talking about Kev's 5 bets, and let's look ahead. Let's look at some long-term bets, see what we got in our crystal ball for you. 60 seconds, Kev's 5 bets. Betway, proudly presented by Betway.
Omnisport Breakfast with MKT and Kevin McCollum on Omnisport Africa.
Another thing I was looking at in America, the average bet, not sure if you know this, is $4.
Wow.
So
why $4?
Well, I mean, America's a big place. No, but they're taking the average bet. So literally all of the dollars bet divided by amount of dollars, by amount of bets made. So, because there's obviously the conversation of betting's this, betting's that, it's like, and I'm not a moralist. I'm not telling people to bet or not. Like I bet, and I'm not a moralist. Do your thing. Winners know when to stop has always been my thing. And don't ever bet money you can't afford to lose. I'm interested. Obviously sport matters to me, and I'm seeing betting is everywhere. And naturally they have big bucks because people love to punch. People spend their money where they love to be. And people love to be around sport. Like it's the one thing. I think I don't know if I was talking to you or someone else. I feel like sport is the last thing where we're allowed to be tribal and be civil afterwards with it. In politics, it always goes way left. It'll become racial, sexist, this, homophobic, you know what I mean? In politics, no matter where you are in the world, it tends to get to a violent stage where the verbally... With football, is you can be Liverpool, I can be Chelsea, you can banter me and swear at me during the game, but then we'll walk next to each other in the street on the way home with our daughters. You know, I mean, I don't have a daughter, but you get what I'm saying. Is that guys can walk down. Fulham Chelsea derby is about as ugly as it gets on the field, and I've been in the stats for that at Craven Cottage and at the Bridge. These are things children can never. But then afterwards, people walk home and go to work together. You know, whereas so there's very few places left to be tribal. So I was just looking up, it's like, what's the average spending? Because people are worried about where betting can go. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that actually people don't gamble that much, you know.
I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday about this, and we're talking about, I'm doing this betting show, and was sponsored by Betway, and he said, and the morality of that, and said, well, the reason we do it is to teach safe betting, and also to give you some skin in the game. So we're saying 10 Rand, just put down 10 Rand on these 5 bets, and what it helps you do is you start looking at the form, start looking at the odds compared to the form. You start understanding your players a bit better. You start understanding how they're on an upward trajectory. You can see the fall of City, and you know, it just makes you understand your football and your rugby and your cricket a little bit more. And I do bet on football because then I do follow the form. I mean, my bets, Brighton, so you watch how many goals have they scored? Both attacking teams, Southampton, boom. So it's going to be one. Both teams are going to score. Liverpool should win the form. Bayern Munich should have beaten Dortmund. And Kaiser Chiefs should have beaten Royal AM. So those are the form things. But then you can't mitigate or you can't predict the unpredictable, which is the excitement in betting. So then when that happens, if you take an outside bet and it comes good, well, if you take a favorite bet and it comes bad, then you go, but you learn and you enjoy, and it just gives you a little bit more depth to it. So, but we're talking about long-term bets. I've been reading. I read the Guardian. I've been up since about 4:00 reading stuff, and this is Jonathan Liu in the Guardian. Pep Guardiola kept holding up 6 fingers. Liverpool fans were in delirium. The Liverpool fans were jigging and jiving across the first, and he said, but Guardiola kept holding up 6 fingers, almost incredulous at discovering the concept of fingers for the first time. What did it all mean? Was that the number of defeats since they last won a game? The position in which they most desperately require reinforcements in January? The number of touches over 90 minutes that Erling Haaland had in the final third? So I knew Empire might rise out of this, but we'll see. But Betway have got this thing where you can actually do longer term bets. So you do outright bets. And the odds for the winners, Liverpool are 1.58 to win the Premier League. Arsenal 3.8 and City are 9-1 to win. I don't know if that's a outside punt. No one else is close though. So underneath that, Chelsea is 17.2, Spurs 105-1 to win the league, and the last Wolves are 1,000-1 to win, obviously. But no one's close. Even Brighton are 250-1 to win the league.
So Man City are
9-1 to win.
So what does that mean? If I put down 1 Rand,
then you get 9 back. That's simple. Yeah, it is a. Would you take that's a long-term outside punt, and then. Even if you're not a Man City fan, you put your 10 Rand on that, you're going to get 90 Rand back. And at the end of the season, that's you'll sit and watch City. Say, come on, City, sit on the slide there. Obviously, while wearing your Chelsea shirt.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I'm loyal to whoever pays me the most, is what I've always said. So maybe a cheeky $100. So if I put $100 down, I could win 9,000 Rand.
900 Rand. Yeah, 9-1.
So I got to put 1,000 Rand. I'm going to think about that one. 9-1. Depending how the next Man City game goes. I might put down, I'll have to have a look. So that's on the Betway site, huh? 9-1.
Yeah.
Tasty.
So relegation, but this is straight to the other side of the table. Southampton are 1.2 to be relegated, Leicester 1.5, Ipswich 1.57, Everton are 2.75, Wolves 3.25, and Palace are 4.5 to go down. I don't think Palace will. I think there's a lot about them that are it's impressive, and they had a good draw in the weekend. They're looking decent, and I think the managers just sorted them out.
So our favourites there are Southampton, Leicester, and Ipswich for the drop.
Pretty much,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and Southampton are pretty much favourites to finish bottom as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's about right. We've watched enough now to know, and the table shows you what you really are. Yeah. And I think Wolves are too good. I think Everton in Sean Dyche they'll be able to get to 35 points. He just knows what he's doing. And then Wolves are too good. And as you say, I think Glasner's a really, really good coach. Eberechi Eze is now showing you what a massive, massive loss he was for them, because
Yeah.
he's at Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich aren't just buying anyone. He's a top tier player, and we saw him in the Olympics, right? So I think they're struggling for to replace those goals. Michael Olise. Michael Olise is the guy. Eberechi Eze is struggling to take on the responsibility. Michael Olise is the guy who was just outrageous for France and for them last year. So I think Palace will be all right.
So I also looked at, we spoke about will City make the top 4. We spoke about that earlier in the show. And the favourites are basically Liverpool, big favourites at 1.03, so it's not really good value there. Arsenal also big favourite to finish top 4, 1.06, and City 1.3. Then Chelsea at 1.36, Spurs at 4-1, and United at 6.5-1. But I think Brighton are good value at 7-1 to finish in the top 4 as a long-term bet. They excite me. They play good football. Their manager is proper. Gets angry, shouts at people, but he's good.
He is good. Yeah. He is good. But I think, as you say, that top 5 is starting to separate Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton, Man City. I think we're starting to see Nottingham Forest they're sort of regressing to the mean, right? They are what they are at the end of the day. I like Chris Wood, but I mean, come on. And then Spurs, I mean, you can't be drawing to Fulham.
Yeah. No. God, I mean, no. And Ange keeps saying, oh, it's my fault. So no, just blame a player, man.
Yeah.
Get angry, Ange. Or I'm sure he does off the field, but doesn't like he just rumbles along, it's pretty bad, Mike. I don't know what to do about it. But he does know what to do about it, and it's kick a bit of ass in the at the Spurs training ground. You can also Betway have got this lack of things. You can actually put money on who's going to have the most assists in the season. And these odds are actually a lot better. Bukayo Saka is favourite 1.72.
Okay.
Mo Salah 4-1. Cole Palmer at 9-1, and Bruno Fernandes at 15. So I wouldn't waste money on Fernandes. Although Son from Spurs, he's at 21-1. De Bruyne for some reason still up, but he's barely playing. But Cole Palmer at 9-1 is good value there for the long-term season. So that's the thing. You'll be watching him. They said, right, I don't care if you score, just pass. Just assist. I mean, you saw what Mo's done this season so far, but Saka apparently is above him in terms of assists. So let's just keep watching.
See, that's interesting, because especially now that Odegaard's back, I would have thought those numbers would have changed. But okay, Saka's so good. Oh,
yeah, he is.
Bloody hell. Yeah. Okay, I like that. So you can actually do assists, the most assists. Wow, they have something for everything, huh?
They do. Most assists, top 6, top goal scorer.
Yeah.
Haaland is still favourite 1.4. Mo Salah 4.1 to be top scorer, and Cole Palmer 13.3-1. So I'm looking for Saka, and I don't see him on this list. Oh, there he is, 42-1.
42-1.
I thought he would be higher up the log than that. But that's also a nice, good outside. Put $10 down on that, 420 Rand into the season. And that will make cover you if you let's say you put 100 Rand on Mo Salah to be top scorer, and it doesn't happen. If you put $10 on Saka and he becomes top scorer, then you've covered your bet.
Diversified your betting portfolio, they say.
Don't lose, yeah. I mean, the options are awesome, and you just go into that, it just makes it fun. Who's going to finish bottom? Who's going to finish in the top half? You'll finish in the bottom half. Top half, I'm going to go, let's find an outside shot here. Forest at 2.1 to finish the top half, Brentford 3.5, West Ham 4.5, and Palace 13-1. I like Palace's value there.
To finish top half, huh?
Top half of the table, yeah.
No, they'd have to do something. Let's finish off on the Betway Premiership. So obviously Betway are now obviously the title sponsor of the Betway Premiership.
Yeah.
Who have they got to win things there?
Sundowns. Everyone has Sundowns. It's just daft. I'm actually going to bring that up right now and bring up outrights. I'll give you the odds as we speak. Sorry, I'm right on the site. It's actually a lacquer site. It's very cool. It has so much. I mean, it's almost overwhelming.
Yeah. You'd actually need to be disciplined enough to go, what do I want to bet on that I know about? Because it's very, very fun. I love that. I like the Man City to win the league. I think I might put 100 Rand on that. Maybe 1,000 Rand, actually.
Yeah. Sundowns are favourites by a distance. I think they're 1.5 to win. Pirates next. Chiefs are after them, and then Stellenbosch. I don't see Chiefs winning, but maybe top half of the table.
Top half. Yeah, that's it. You'll be able to see them without having to scroll down. Stellenbosch beating Pirates on the weekend actually makes that make sense. That's where Sundowns are good. Sundowns win when they have to, and then they thump the big teams. That's their thing, right? And Pirates, we very, very disappointed this weekend with the result this weekend. All right, those are Kev's bets in review. Those are your long-term bets. You can catch this video, of course, on YouTube if you are listening on the podcast. Otherwise, catch us wherever you listen to your podcast. Then you've also got Brad Jakes. I mean, he must be having field day. He saw a text from him out. I don't know if he texted me directly or it was the work WhatsApp group. He's going to be working throughout the December because the football season rolls on. It is your Christmas gift this year. So stay with us. Love it. Inside SA Soccer.
And then I'm actually making my debut on the Premier Football Show. I've got a segment for half an hour at around about 10 a.m.
Oh, yeah?
And my guest is Nas Botha.
Today?
The rugby player. My guest is Nas Botha. Big Liverpool fan. Huge Liverpool fan.
Well, on the other hand, Kevin will be having...
As he says, the league title's not won in December, Kevin.
Well said. The great former Dallas Cowboys kicker, Nas Botha, as they call him in Australia. Oh, that's beautiful. Kev will be on there. All right, let's quickly answer our question of the day before we head out of here. Which bowler has the most wickets for South Africa in Test cricket?
Dale Steyn, 439.
The Palabora Express, the great Dale Steyn, 439 wickets, as Kev says. What a player. God, what a player. To have had him and Kagiso Rabada and Vernon Philander in one team. What a time to be alive. Kev, good stuff today. We will join Kev in a little bit on the Premier Football Show. That's it for today. Join us tomorrow for the latest in sport from Africa and around the world.
Listen live and on demand.
Welcome to Omni Sport.